Hi, this
Hello.
is Dr. Okay of the Overflow Life. And like you know, this channel is dedicated to personal development goals and how we can live a more satisfying life in every single area of our lives. And so today, I caught someone who is neck deep into helping people achieve clearer goals as it relates to education and all. But I want her to introduce herself. Stay glued. You have a lot to learn, I assure you. Just stay glued. So introduce yourself. I call her fondly Tonya, but she's going to introduce herself and tell us more about. So tell us, who are you? We want to meet you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Okay. Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon,
Wherever
wherever you
you're
are joining
watching
us
from.
from. My name is Antonia Gaka. I am the CEO of Gaka Immigration Consultancy. However, we're not here to talk about immigration or travel or anything education. However, our discussion is going to deep into that a bit, but let me, okay, tell you more about what we are here for. But lovely to meet you. Thank you.
All right. Lately, it's been a struggle when I meet parents and they talk about the challenges and issues they have with their children who are schooling abroad, especially when the children are very young and they have to be detached from their parents to go abroad. The irony of it is that some of the challenges they meet were things they were not prepared for. And like you know, on this channel, we try to look at issues, challenges, and profess solutions, options, what you can do. And that was why when I got talking with her, I told her we have to do this. There are things that parents need to know why they prepare their children there. Of course, we can't cover all areas, but as much as possible, what we can handle will take. So I'm going to ask her questions and she'll give us professional view about them. I'm not a professional in that area, but I believe in the course of discussion, there'll be one or two things that you can get from them. But then, if you have other questions, of course, put them in the comment section. We will harvest them like I usually say. And of course, I can always bring her back to answer such questions. So without wasting so much time, let's dive in. The first question that I have here is, which is the very, very beginning of it all, is what should parents consider most when evaluating educational opportunities for their children when they need to go abroad for school?
Okay, so when a parent is considering sending their children abroad or their children are considering going abroad with the parents' consent or permission or whichever one it is, don't forget children can be a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old, 20-something.
Yeah.
We're not talking about just 12 years old or teenagers. How? Because you're still a child to your parents. But the most important thing to consider, especially if it's a vulnerable child, who is a vulnerable child or young adult, these are people between 0 to 19 years old, people who need that extra
Okay.
care and
Yeah.
extra eyes upon them. The most important thing for parents to consider is, can you sustain the payment of the school fees for the children?
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention to that. There's a buzz for people wanting to travel and study, but you need to check the long-term plan, check the currency rate for that day before your child starts. For example, a 3 years course you might start off with a pound being say 2,000 naira per pound, but next year it could be 3,000. It can drop too. So look at the currency, look at your capacity as a parent. Would you rather your child study in the country where you are rather than sending your child to the country? Just make sure you're not under any pressure to send your child abroad when you know clearly you are not there yet. Okay. And also, please keep an extra eye on the child. You might not want to travel, or you might not be able to travel or visit them, but find a guardian abroad. Find someone who can keep an eye on that child spontaneously. Take them by surprise. Parents that have done this have never ever regretted it. But the parents who think it's just boarding school, I'll be calling them. Phone call can be deceitful. Video calls can be deceitful. Children can hide things from you, but appoint a guardian. There could be a relative, it could be a non-relative. For instance, I'm a guardian to lots of children who I'm not related to in any way. That means I can go to their school at any time and pay them a visit, and I give the parents unadulterated feedback.
Okay. So what we can get from this is, it's not just about the money, I can afford it and the child goes. There are other things you need to consider, long-term thing, and somebody who is there that can get in touch with the child if there is need to. So you need a guardian in the place you're sending the child to. And thank you so much for that. Another question, what are the red flags parents should be aware of when selecting schools or program for their children in a foreign country?
The most important red flag is when you are recommending your child to do a certain course. Allow them to choose that course because the challenge is there already. There's peer pressure already. There is cultural difference and barrier already. So children are very smart, too smart, if I may say, to say, oh, it's because I'm not even interested in the course. You know, I'm doing, for example, I'm studying literature because my mom is a professor of English and all. But if you can get them involved, I know it's something you want them to do, but make sure it's also something they want to do. There's a way you can start building that interest in them. That would help a long way. So try and make sure it's a course that the child likes. It's key.
It's very important.
Yeah.
So the thing is getting the children involved in the decision making of whatever course they want to study. Get their buy-in. In that way, they have passion for it. On the YouTube channel, I have a video that talks about opportunities and how to maximize opportunity. And in that video, I talked about being able to have a passion for something can drive your interest. So if you have a focus, you have your why, the reason why you're doing something. It doesn't matter the challenges that come across your way, you'll be able to push through. That's exactly what she's saying. If you have a child that has chosen to read, maybe medicine, for instance, when there are challenges that come, the child knows this is what I want, and the child will be able to push through. But when it is a parent that chose the course for the child is just doing it to fulfill all righteousness, and so the child may not be able to give their best. And once they don't have that interest in it, it will just be like money going down the drain.
Yes. However, parents, you can also, you are there for the children to also guide them. For example, if you're traveling to certain countries where you are planning to get permanent residency, for instance, going to study courses that are not in demand is not a wise idea, even though that's what the child wants. But that's where you come in as a parent now, as their guardian, to speak to them about it. Try and get somebody in that country or someone who the child will listen to, or graduates of that course, for instance. And most of the schools organize that. They do an open day webinar where children, where these kids can, or these young adults can come and ask questions. But please make sure that you are very strategic in the course that they even study. You're not choosing for them, but you are recommending, you're suggesting. Because in the long run, you don't want your children to finish studying and
become a liability.
Upon you after spending huge amounts of money in dollars or in pounds. There are specific courses. Can we mention some?
Yes, you can.
There are specific courses that are very in demand, very high demand, and will always be in the nearest future. We're talking about cybersecurity, engineering, not all engineering, but you're talking about computing engineering, you're talking about artificial intelligence, that's under computing and engineering. Now, if you're talking about the health sector, you're looking at pharmacy, you're looking at nursing, you're looking at occupational therapy, you're looking at physiotherapy. And if somebody can try and write down these courses in the comment section, that's going to help. Occupational therapies, physiotherapy, nursing, pharmacy, medicine, of course, although medicine is very expensive, but if you can afford it, with courses like this, you can never go wrong. That is being strategic. And after that, you're looking at permanent residency for your children, and indirectly, other members of the family can also get on that permanent residency. But we're not here to talk about permanent residency. But please be strategic. Don't just go about studying any course because you fancy it sounds like what you like. It's not about that.
Or for some, it's something like it has to be professional, like where you're coming from. You say it's engineering, or the child has to read law, or the child has to study medicine, or whatever it is. It's not what it is in the place you are, but where the child is going to, especially if you're thinking of the child staying back wherever the child is studying.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So we have one question here. It says, how can parents effectively support their children to ensure they stay focused and succeed in their new environment? This is broader than what it is, because if you have children who are leaving home to go to another country, the culture is definitely different. So what can parents do, like a start off, help the children before they go?
There are so many things they will do, but for the sake of time,
I'm
going to mention just two: communication and skills acquisition. Let's talk about communication. make sure you build that friendship with your children where they can tell you anything. If they're going through any crisis or challenge, you should be the first person they can call and
Yeah.
tell whatever they're going through, not their friends, not the new environment they've come to, not like you should create that forum. It doesn't matter if you've never had that relationship with them while they were growing up, but start building it, especially if they are traveling. Okay. Say for instance you have 5 children. Every parents know the capacity of the children. They know what the child can, how the child can cope. They know the threshold of the pressure. So do not send or do not put your child in a position whereby you're setting them up to fail. Children who don't have that resilience, build it in them before they go abroad to study.
Okay.
Because abroad is going to shake them. I tell you, it's going to shake them from the bottom. And if they haven't got that, it's going to be a problem. So communication, try as much as possible. Call them every day. Call them every day. And if you cannot call them every day, tell them to call you.
Okay.
Yeah, there are lots of parents do that. You won't believe it. Like their daughter or their son is in this country 3 years. Every blessed day, even if they don't speak to the child, they get that message. Hi, Dad, I'm okay. Hello, Mom, how are you?
It goes a long way.
Yeah, and if child sees the missed call, please just make sure you call them every day. They are young adult, they grow to become 19, 20, but they are still your child. Peer pressure is real, and in modern environment, these developed countries, the challenge you face in Africa is not the same challenge you face. Again, they are all challenged, but our own is deep. Yours is economy, corruption, government. Ours is deeper than that too. So you're right. Everybody is writing. You know that you can justify your challenge. We can justify our challenge. However, please make sure you're communicating with them always. Also, skills acquisition. Encourage your children to do internship, work, develop extra skills. For instance, instead of just sending them pocket money, paying their complete school fees, please encourage them to find job to do. It's not because I get parents who are like, no, I don't want my child
to afford it.
I can afford it. I want my child to be focused in their study. Well, that's good. Well, however, I'm clapping for you.
However,
skills acquisition it matters a lot in this country. There is you don't have to be shy about it. Even the children feel more fulfilled and
responsible,
and very responsible, very, very. They feel like they are fulfilling a purpose when they are working. Please encourage them to work, internship, volunteer. These are skills. Learning how to plait hair, barb hair, cake, everything bakery. Skills. Right now, somebody is watching us and she has a 14-year-old child, 15, and is planning to send your child abroad in the next few years. And all they do is when they come back from secondary school, they're on their phones or they are watching telly. You're watching us right now. Please, when you come back on holiday, send them wake up call. In your country. Are you in Kenya, Zimbabwe, wherever you are? Make sure during holiday they are learning skills. They should start learning right now. It's going to help them in the long run. Otherwise, everything is going to be on you. Even the air they breathe will be on you. Okay.
That's a funny one. Yeah, and that brings me to the question of how do we help our children to adjust socially to the new environment where they are. As people of faith, she's a person of faith also. How have you been able to cope with your own children? And because you're dealing with lots of these children, you help with their admission, help them settle in. What do you think the parents can do that can make it easier for them to get in? And I'm talking about them getting, being able to adjust to the support that they get around the church and things that they do.
Yeah, even Muslims. I get people who are Muslims that come into the country and they no longer go to mosques. And the Christians, they no longer go to church. Sundays are the days they want to wash their clothes and rest and just visit friends or go to work. Please encourage them. Make sure that faith you have built in them while you were growing up, keep following them up on it. And make sure they are going to that. It means a lot, so that when the storm of life comes, they can have a cushion, they can have that faith, that God
from within to
them.
push.
You know, we are facing a situation whereby it's so easy for people to just throw in the towel so easily. And one little thing, people are going through either depression or suicidal thoughts or just giving up in life. However, if they have a strong faith that are holding on to that, that will go a long way to help them. So please, you should know the friends that your children are keeping. Who are their friends?
Okay.
Every time you call them, oh, I'm just going out with my friends, you should
Who
know
are
the
they?
names of their friends, their surname, where are
Who are
they
they
from.
from?
If possible, you can be friends with the parents of your children. And if they are bad influence on your children, or maybe it's even your child as a bad influence on that one, try as much as possible. You can be thousands of miles away, but yet you're in control. You are in charge. You're
Yeah.
monitoring your children. I'm in my 30s, but I still listen to my parents, especially my father. He's thousands of miles away in a different continent. But you see, because he's been checking up on me and now his grandchildren, it goes a long way. So
Yeah.
do not just say, okay, they are studying.
And that's
it.
all.
Know who are their friends.
You need.
Speak to them often.
Yeah, what I get from that is you have to still be the leader in the relationship that you have with your children. Being a leader means you know the vision, you know where you're going to, and you help the child set the goal to achieve that thing. So the child may not know it all. The child does not even know as much as you know. So you being the leader in it, you're able to tell the child, this is what we're achieving, and have their buy-in to be able to achieve that. There's just so much to cover, but this is all we can take on this episode. Until next time, we are going to cover some more. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.